Hey, it is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in today on a great viewer question. And that is, can you make a video about triangulation being mirrored by a new supply and harassment by proxy? So this is a great viewer question. And if you're it's important to understand one of the techniques of manipulation by a malignant narcissist or a psychopath is that of triangulation. That is of using another as a ploy, a decoy, a pawn, a moving part to create an additional tension or jealousy or additional deeper negative manipulation. It's like, fight to show how much you want me. They're trying to get an additional supply in a different, arousal, a different diving in even more, to the narcissist relationship, because not only does it benefit the narcissist, to have more clamoring for them, but it also, helps to solidify the new supply. Because if they go, wow, I am number one to a number two, all of a sudden the narcissist or the psychopath has, added status or added clout or added panache to that new supply relationship. Because if they go, wow, well, there's someone else who wants him, to a narcissist, that means that, people are basically trying to knock their doors down, and so if they can create this new tension of desire, it helps to solidify new supply in their life. And for them, then the narcissist to be very reactive and just sheltering other people out. So it's to create a more of a insider circle, which, a narcissist will do, of course, for their number one supply. And, when you're going through a devalue and discard, this can become a very, unpleasant manipulation. It takes manipulation to, it's creating distance and space in the relationship while still saying, I want to play with you while you're down. So it's kind of like the cat and the mouse, just taking a bite enough to hurt the mouse, but making sure that they're not all the way dead so the mouse still has something to play with. The narcissist will just, put the pedal to the metal in triangulation, which means they're kind of just showing, like, I don't have to take responsibility and accountability for what we've gone through in this relationship. There's somebody new, and this will basically get me off the hook with you. In other words, I found somebody else, and then you're supposed to exit stage right, but just in case things don't work out, let's keep you around a little bit longer. So they tend to drag their heels, especially with their secondary supply. And it keeps an open door. It keeps an open window. It keeps an open lifeline to you. Do not be flattered. Do not be impressed. Do not be, flattered by the fact that they are triangulating you. You want to show power above and beyond, that you see through. There's a transparency. You have to see and read between the lines. Basically, triangulation serves many, many, many layers of purpose in what it does to serve the narcissist, to serve the narcissist supply ring. People call it their flying monkeys, their entourage, their posse, whatever it is. You have to be careful that you don't want to have, being treated like a puppet, like they can just move you around according to their whims and according to their desires without taking into accountability and credibility either what you've given to them, what you've discussed before. Do you see how it's a way for them to just get off the hook and have them looking good? Everything about the triangulation is about the narcissist or the psychopath looking good, looking like they're unaffected. It's a way for them to go off, somewhat cold turkey off of their previous supply, or if it's getting too real. I mean, there's so many um, there's so much into that in terms of when this happened. So if things are getting too real between you and this individual, and they're like, nope, it's time for me to get my eye on another individual, another relationship, another target, you might, be very well heartbroken because you want to be their number one, their main squeeze. Well, of course. I mean, maybe that's what you've been working for. Maybe that's what you've been discussing. Maybe that's come up in conversation. And the narcissists, are typically, committophobic as well, meaning they have a phobia sort of commitment. They oftentimes don't like to be tied down, locked down in a relationship, because to them, it's saying this is as good as it's going to get, and they don't have to work in the relationship. They get many off the hook moments if they can just find a new supply and sort of abuse you by proxy, meaning flaunting, flaunting their new love, putting all this stuff on Facebook, mistakenly, text you a message that was meant for them, sending you pictures. Oh, I didn't mean to send you that. I mean, it just goes on in terms of how they can sort of get you in between the ribs. The point is, you don't want to have any ribs to get in between. You don't want to have an Achilles heel that you have a knee-jerk reaction with, because then you're still giving them attention. You are not getting anything in return other than, paranoia, fear, feeling of betrayal, being brokenhearted, being lied to. I mean, basically, that is what you are walking away with. And so the narcissist, wants to look good. They will triangulate to sort of, and create a smear campaign. In other words, to talk bad about you when you're not there to defend yourself. You're not there to set the record straight. The narcissist can make up all sorts of, stories, things, about the relationship, and then use it sort of as fodder for the new relationship. And it's not because of a weakness with you. The narcissist or the psychopath, they just need to, have a lot of people clamoring, keeping this sort of tension going, this sort of high level of vibration, which oftentimes is not a love vibration. It is a chaos vibration. It is a lower vibration. It is a vibration of fear, phobia, insecurity, non-commitment. And it's oftentimes still living in a sort of fantasy. And the narcissist will sort of have this sort of fairy tale fantasy like, picture in their mind of what their relationship is going to be. And they're going to keep their own sort of carrot dangling in front of them for a long period of time. In other words, the narcissist is never quite satisfied. They don't have that content and that trust that a real and committed relationship has. If you don't have trust and you don't have that loyalty and commitment, and that sort of agreement, then that means they can do whatever. I mean, it leaves them an open door, no questions asked, and then they can just basically, if you allow it, they're going to drag you over the coals, and basically it's going to be gut-wrenching emotionally. So you really don't want to give them what they're looking for. In other words, you're still hurting because you still desire this relationship. You still want this, and you still want them to want you. And you still sort of want to control then the relationship, and it puts you in a dependency mode. So that is where the power is not. It puts you into a powerless position where you're left guessing, you're left wondering, you're left, spinning your wheels, you're left, into, and then all of a sudden, the dam is going to break, and then you might just go running over there, and then they go, see, I told you, you didn't have your act together, and they create and perpetrate the very antagonism that sets you up. So it's a very deliberate and just sort of very pre-calculated type of manipulation, which you don't want to play in. But for a lot of people who are going through a breakup, oftentimes playing this game is better than playing the game of reality. So, you can get stuck in this game of triangulation for a long period of time, trying to save face, trying to settle the score, trying to teach them as to what true love is, and that this is what we have, and and try to kind of have that come to heart meeting, which they are not going to be receptive to. And it's you don't want to try to recover what is under the bridge. You want to be willing to let that go. But if you're still holding on to it, oftentimes it's because there are lessons learned that you still need to learn about these types of people, about yourself, about how you handle these things, about jealousy, about what is in your best interest, what is not in your best interest, what's a good fit for you, what's not a good fit, being on your own, and coming back to the blueprint about what you want in your life oftentimes can be a painful exercise. But it's better to face the pain and sort of get it over with. Realize, oh, okay, this is what I do really want. And rather than, sailing back to the narcissist, which oftentimes cannot deliver what you want, they'll deliver an illusion of what you want, but it's not, oftentimes they cannot deliver on the false promises, on the false hope, on the illusion, on the fantasy. It is all superficial. And until you can learn to see through that, until you can be comfortable with knowing that you are desirable, acceptable, and deserve true, and not this immature game playing, eventually this will wear you out. It'll break you down. It'll set you back. It'll be a regressive move. It'll keep you, in the valley. It'll keep you in the dark. And some people want to stay there sort of, and they need to sort of have those valley moments. So you need to understand that you're really just sort of, if you find that you're still sort of aggravated and wanting to follow them, or you're subjected to this abuse by proxy, it's because you're still looking. It's because you're still wondering. It's because you're still wondering if they're going to come back. How bad is this going to get? What does this person have that I don't have? So you're still entertaining this relationship, which means you're still, it's an emotional calculation that is not going to give you the accurate bottom line. It's not going to give you clear answers. If you're still wondering, why, you're asking questions that are going to keep you either stuck, sort of in that spot, and then eventually you're going to want to liberate from that. So become very well aware of the questions that you're asking yourself while you're sort of subjecting yourself to this abuse by proxy, because one of the lessons learned is that you don't have to keep digesting this. You don't have to keep consuming this tension that they're putting out there. But for some reason, you're still attracted. You are still desiring them or the relationship. Oh, but we had it this, we had it that. Okay, notice that you're, it's a past tense. And notice what is a present tense for you and what is a future tense. And realize that there's, the present moment is where you sort of might want to reflect. It might be gratifying for you. But, you also want to realize that it's very, you're paying the price and you're continuing the habit of emotionally sabotaging yourself by keeping that door open, by keeping those floodgates open. If you're sharing a group of friends, well, you might want to consider and reapproach this. There's so much to your question, and, it definitely is worthy of more than one video. But I think it's something, there's, many facets to it, and it really depends on where you are at in the journey and what your real takeaway is. And oftentimes if you're still sort of in that abuse state, that trauma bonded state, there is an element of denial going on. Sort of denial of that you're still wanting the illusion, or a denial that the fantasy is more true than your truth. So you still haven't made a decision yet. You still don't have enough evidence. You still don't have enough reason. The pain is not great enough. So you're waiting for the pain to get even greater till you can really cut the cord. And so you're going to realize that you're setting the bar for yourself. What more information do you need? What more pain do you need to experience before you decide where you stand, with regards to the relationship, and what is the reality? And is the reality more desirable for you than the illusion and the fantasy and that sort of superficial image that they are putting out there. Oftentimes when triangulation, that's what that is. It's all a play. It's all designed to make you go, ooh, ah, boo, or whatever. Be very careful that you're still not in the audience of a narcissist, because you're still staying in that trap. You're still, just like a seal that's just still kicking a ball in the air for them. You're still being supply. And if you don't want to be supply, then you have to make a statement, I don't want to be supply. If you don't like, being triangulated, then I don't like being triangulated. I don't like being abused by proxy. I refuse to be abused by proxy. You need to have that layer of commitment and declaration, and have enough conviction and determination, and then trust in your future that not only can you do this and handle this and make it through, but the universe is more than willing to support you. And I hope this video does help. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And once again, I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. And remember that the reality, your I am, is oftentimes where the excitement, the dream, the passion, the fulfillment, and the happiness is. It's all within you. It's not always in that fantasy, the illusion that can never, take place, because oftentimes with a narcissist, their behaviors, oftentimes speak louder than words. Remember that and pay attention. Have a beautiful day, and peace be with you.